Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the Syndicate podcast, where we listen to stories and comment on them. Today, I have 3 scary / creepy stories for you all that will keep you looking over your shoulders and watching the dark corners of your room. And so, without further ado, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and let's get into it. There was a place on the Heath that everyone knew about, but nobody ever talked about out loud. You didn't need directions to find it. It sat just off the walking paths, half hidden by weeds and brambles. An old water house that used to control the estate's water supply decades ago. Even when I was a kid, it looked ancient, like it belonged to a different century. The brickwork was dark with damp, the slate roof sagged in places. Old iron fittings had rusted so badly they left orange streaks running down the stone. It had been abandoned for as long as anyone could remember. The doors were gone. The windows had been smashed out years earlier by bored kids with rocks, and yet it never felt empty. My mom grew up near the Heath, so did her brothers and sisters. When we were little, they admitted the place had unsettled them too. Not because anything specific ever happened there, but because of the feeling you got when you were close, like something had noticed you. One summer, during the school holidays, the older cousins decided to take us blackberry picking. There were 5 of us, younger kids, and 3 older boys, all teenagers, all trusted to look after us. We set off from my grand's house, cutting through a broken fence that led straight onto the Heath. Someone lifted my wheelchair over the gap, someone else passed it through, and off we went, laughing and arguing about who'd fill their bucket first. As we walked, the older boys started telling scary stories. They loved winding us up, and we loved pretending we weren't scared. But then the water house came into view, and the stories stopped. No one said anything as we passed it, not even the boys. To reach the blackberry field, we had to cross another fence, which meant getting closer to the building. Everyone knew the story about that place. It had been passed down for years, half urban legend, half warning. Back in the 1960s, a violent gang had robbed several banks nearby. One robbery went wrong. A young clerk was killed. Others were badly injured. The gang fled into the Heath and disappeared. Months later, their bodies were found inside the water house. After that, people started reporting things, noises at night, shapes moving where no one should have been, a thick, wet, rotten smell that lingered even on dry days. Over the years, several homeless people were found dead nearby. Nothing was ever officially linked to the building, but slowly, people stopped going near it. That was the story. Once we were through the fence and farther away, someone dared to look back. The water house just sat there, silent, watching. The boys hurried us along. The afternoon itself was fine, normal. Blackberries, cold river water, the sun sinking lower in the sky. But the walk back felt wrong. The air was heavy, still, like the moment before a storm breaks. When we reached the fence near the water house again, one of the older boys stopped dead. He said he'd seen something move behind the building. At first, his brothers laughed it off. He was always the prankster, but this time, his face was pale, serious. "I'm going to check," he said, and before anyone could stop him, he slipped around the side of the building. A second later, he screamed. Not a joke scream, not a startled yell. Pure panic. The boys reacted instantly. One of them shouted for us to run. Someone grabbed me. Someone grabbed my wheelchair. No one argued. We ran as fast as we could. Behind us, the boy kept shouting, "Don't look back. Don't look back." I did. I didn't see anything. We didn't stop until we reached the far fence, the one that led back to the estate, back to streetlights and houses and noise. Only then did we collapse, gasping for breath. One of the brothers grabbed him by the shoulders. "What did you see?" He could barely speak. "He didn't have any eyes," he said, "where his eyes should have been. There was just blood. And he was smiling." That was enough. When we got home, the adults could tell something had shaken us. The boys brushed it off, said we'd been startled by a drunk man hiding in the bushes, which honestly wasn't unheard of on the Heath. No one pushed the issue. but none of us ever went near the Waterhouse again. I'm just going to say this out loud. If I'm going anywhere that is abandoned, people haven't been there for a while, it's run down, anything like that, I'm making sure, even if I'm passing it, I'm making sure that I'm bringing protection. And that, or the story, or this is the reason why, is because, dude, the fact that the person had no eyes and there was blood, there's just blood, I'm assuming blood was coming out, and he was smiling, that's sinister. You know what I think about when I think about that? I think about the horror movie One Missed Call, like the cover of it, right, where the lady's holding the phone and she's smiling and her eye sockets are empty, but there's like you can see that it's just a creepy look. It's a creepy look, and it's, if I saw that, I'm running, or again, I'm gonna protect myself. I don't know. That definitely gave me the goosebumps, and just the fact that the one of the boys was going to go look at it. If I saw something like that, I would be like, you know what? That's probably just whoever, just leave him alone. We don't need to be messing with this. Let's hurry up and get out of here, right? I wouldn't even go bother to take a look at it. Unless you're passing that place, then yeah, go ahead. I mean, knock yourself out, but I'm still not doing that. Unless, or if it's like all of us who want to go check it out, sure. You know, like that's fine too, but the risk with that is people can get hurt, and you're going to be to blame because you are the one that was supposed to be watching them, you know, if you're the older one. As far as you being the younger one, if I was the younger one, I wouldn't go. Yeah. But I don't know. With that said, let's move on to the next story. All right, before I start, I want to say this up front. I've spent a lot of nights moving through places most people never see after dark. Long walks, quiet steps, the kind of nights where you're hyper aware of every sound because you know how fast things can go wrong. And still, there's one night I've never been able to fully explain. This happened overseas, during a routine overnight recon, nothing dramatic on paper. We were inserted well away from populated areas, told to move fast, stay quiet, confirm activity, and be gone before sunrise. It was one of those nights where everything lined up in our favor: open terrain, good intel, bright moonlight, which is always a double-edged sword. But that night it worked for us. We even brought a few newer guys along to give them experience, which put us at 7 instead of our usual 4. I was on rear security. Another experienced guy, I'll call him L, was just ahead of me. We'd worked together long enough that we didn't need to talk much. We knew how to cover each other. The first part of the night was uneventful, almost boring. Then, as we started shifting toward our extraction route, I heard something behind us. Just movement. Somewhere in the trees. I stopped. L stopped too. The rest of the team kept going. The newer guys weren't used to constantly checking their rear, so the distance between us started growing. At first I figured it was wildlife. That was the logical explanation, but the sound kept pace with us. We started leapfrogging forward carefully. Eventually I told L to push ahead and rejoin the team, while I stayed back and watched. I found cover and waited. Then I saw movement again, branches shifting ahead of me, and then nothing. No sound. No movement. Just silence. After a few minutes, the team circled back and swept the area. There were no tracks, no disturbed ground, no sign anything had ever been there. Naturally, we got teased for slowing things down, so we moved on. A couple kilometers later, we reached an old orchard. The moonlight was bright. The trees were evenly spaced, and it was the kind of place where shadows played tricks on your eyes. We moved through the middle, using the trunks for cover. As I was about to enter, I heard it again. But this time, it wasn't movement. It sounded like laughter. Soft, high-pitched, like a child trying not to be heard. I froze. L had already moved ahead and turned away from me. I stepped up, and he continued forward. I crouched beside one of the trees, scanning between the trunks. That's when the tree next to me caught my attention. At first, it was just the knots in the bark, random shapes. Then, it wasn't. The shape sharpened. Eyes, a mouth, a face. Then it blinked. I don't know how else to say it. A little girl's face seemed to appear in the tree itself. She smiled at me, lifted a small hand, gave a slow wave, and she giggled. Not threatening, not playful, just calm. Then she was gone. The tree was just a tree again. I didn't say a word. I didn't signal. I didn't call it in. I didn't even look back at the tree. I stood up and moved as fast and quietly as I could until I caught up with Elle, and I kept my mouth shut. We finished the mission and left before daylight. A couple of weeks later, I was reassigned to help another unit in a different area. My original team, including Elle, went back into the region we'd been in that night. I was honestly relieved not to be going. When I finally made it back to the barracks, the rest of the team showed up not long after. Everyone was laughing, everyone except Elle. He looked angry, shaken, like he'd had enough. Someone joked that Elle refused to patrol that spot anymore. I didn't laugh. A few days later, Elle and I were posted together, basically babysitting some trainees. Out of nowhere, he asked me quietly, "What did you see that night?" I brushed it off, said it was probably nothing. Fatigue, imagination. He stared at me for a long second, then he said, "I saw her too." I didn't say anything. "Tell me I'm not crazy," he added. I asked him where he'd seen her. He didn't hesitate. "Inside a tree." Here's the thing, I had never described what I saw to him, ever. And that night, he'd been far enough away that there was no way he could have seen where I was looking. Some things don't leave tracks, some things don't follow logic, and some things, once you see them, they don't stay where you found them. I'm just saying this now. Dude, if I saw a little girl's face come out of a tree, I'm booking it, okay? I don't even care, all right? I'm telling my Elle, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, I'm taking this L. I'm gonna book it, you know? I don't care what you guys say. I don't care what you guys think of me. I'm going." Like, dude, the thing that's scary is that there's adult horror movies, right? Like, where the adult is like the one who's being the bad guy, possessed, whatever you call it. That's fine. That's normal. But when you put children in that role, it gets like, especially girls, like little girls, dude, that gets 10 times more scary. Imagine this. A little girl, like 6 years old, crawling on all fours, and her limbs don't move normally like a regular girl. Dude, I would be freaking out. Nonetheless, seeing a girl's face pop out of a tree, nah, man, I'm good. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that, but with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So, I was 10 years old when my grandma came to live with us. She moved in about 6 months after my granddad died. Looking back now, I think she was just lonely. That big house they'd shared must have felt enormous once it was empty. Just memories and silence. My mom wasn't thrilled about it, but eventually my parents agreed. I, on the other hand, was excited. Grandma was fun, loud, always joking. She had this endless supply of boiled sweets she somehow kept hidden in her pockets, and she'd slip me one every chance she got. She also had my back no matter what. If I got in trouble, Grandma was usually the first one defending me. But the best thing about her? The stories. She had stories about growing up during the war, about being sent away to the coast as a kid, about the trouble she and her friends used to get into. Some were funny, some were sad, some were just strange. And then there were the scary ones. Those were my favorite. Grandma loved scary stories. She used to tell me about dabbling in fortune telling when she was younger. Tarot cards, seances, that kind of thing. Most of those stories didn't stick with me, but one of them did. One story stayed with me, the one about the shower and Mr. Longfingers. Grandma hated showers, absolutely refused to take them. She only ever had baths, long ones. Candles, incense, humming to herself until the water went cold. It drove my mom crazy. One night, I asked her why. She sat down on the edge of my bed and leaned in a little closer than usual. She said people like her, people who were sensitive, needed baths. Showers weren't safe. Naturally, I asked why. She got real quiet then. Told me showers were only dangerous if you closed your eyes for too long. 10 seconds, she said. Anything longer than that was risky. She asked me if I knew that playground game where one person turns their back and everyone else sneaks closer while they're not looking. I said, yeah. That's what it's like in the shower, she told me, when your eyes are closed. That's when she mentioned Mr. Longfingers. I asked who that was. She said no one really knew. Some people thought it was something drawn to warmth and steam. Others thought it slipped through places where the air got thick enough to hide things. Then she told me something I still remember word for word. Anyone who actually sees Mr. Longfingers never gets the chance to explain what they saw. I remember pulling the covers up to my chin. She told me the rules after that. 5 seconds with your eyes closed was fine, 10 seconds was pushing it, but if you went longer, you might feel like something else was in the room with you. And if you ever heard tapping, soft tapping on the shower glass, she made me promise I'd never open my eyes. I promised. I didn't sleep much that night. Actually, I didn't sleep much for the rest of the week. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined something staring at me through the dark. And when I was awake, the shower became a problem. I'd rush through it, shampoo burning my eyes because I refused to keep them closed. I'd count in my head, 5 seconds, 6, 7, and every time right around that point I'd feel it. Not like being watched exactly. More like pressure, like the room was holding its breath. Before I'd shut my eyes again, I always checked the fogged up glass, just to be sure. Eventually, my mom noticed something was wrong. She heard me crying out one night and asked what was going on. I told her everything. That night, I heard my parents arguing, really arguing. Mom was furious, not at me, but at Grandma. The next evening, Grandma came into my room. No scary stories this time. She just sat on my bed, quiet, looking tired. She told me she'd never let anything hurt me, that she'd meant to protect me, not scare me. Then she said she'd take care of it. Whatever was out there wouldn't bother me again. About a week later, I woke up early to the sound of running water, the shower. I ran down the hall and banged on the bathroom door, calling her name. When I tried the handle, it opened. Steam rolled out. Before my dad pulled me away, before everything turned into shouting and chaos, I saw her lying still inside the shower. Her eyes were wide open. One hand rested against the glass, lines carved through the steam where her fingers had dragged. They said it was a heart attack. They said it was quick. Even at 10 years old, I knew better. And I still do. My family doesn't understand why I refuse to take showers now. They think it's trauma, and maybe part of it is, but that's not the real reason. The real reason is what I saw later. When the bathroom was quiet again and the steam had started to fade, I checked the glass, and the marks weren't just on the inside. And this is the reason why I'm never closing my eyes in the shower again. It's because of this story right here. Yeah, I don't care if soap is getting in my eyes. I'm just gonna keep them open because this story, it didn't traumatize me, but if you think about it, right? And I'm pretty sure you've thought about it. You're taking a shower, you're closing your eyes, and you know, you have that thought of, hey, what if someone's behind me? You know, what if someone's actually behind me, and then you open your eyes and you turn around and nothing's there. But this makes him like 10 times worse. Mr. Longfingers here. If you close your eyes for 5 seconds, you're fine. 10 seconds, yeah, you're pushing it. 15 seconds, yeah, he's definitely coming for you. I remember one time I was taking a shower, and I was, you know, doing my hair, doing body wash and everything. I opened my eyes, pitch dark. I was freaking out. This is when I was a kid, and I was freaking out. I was like, what the heck just happened? I'm like screaming, you know. Turns out the power went out, but it's like, dude, no one wants to go through that. You know what I mean? No one wants to go through that. Thank you all for tuning in on my very first YouTube video on this channel. If you guys like this kind of content, I would kindly ask if you all would please crack the like button over the head with a bat and then give it to the subscribe button. The goal for 2026 is to reach a subscriber count of 5,000. So let's all work together. I know that we can reach that goal. And if we do, it would mean the world to me. Thank you all again, and I will see you all in the next video.